North, broadcasting live from the north, from the 715, from the north.
Alright, what's up guys? Just gonna show you a quick little tutorial how to set up your own customized templates for mixing in ProTools. So, there are some stock templates that you can pick from, and maybe you'll find it easier or just as easy to go in and use one of theirs, and then you can even delete things you don't use and add a couple things you do and resave it as your own, or you can start from scratch. Today I'm going to show you how to start from scratch and basically build your own template for a multi-track mix. Probably going to do another video how to set up one for a 2-track mix, which will just be less things for mainly for rap and hip hop, when sometimes if the artist is only leasing beats, then if you're only paying $20-30 and not the $300-500 for exclusive rights, they're not going to give you a track out. So you're just going to get hopefully a wave, or otherwise sometimes only an MP3. And a lot of people knock it, but if you're in the phase of putting out mixtapes to build your buzz up so you can make an album that people want to buy, then the choice between having it mixed or not mixed, I think it's a no-brainer to get it mixed. So just going to show you how to do that. Also, maybe we'll do another template for editing podcasts, or things like these, where voiceovers, I guess you could even call it. So just how to strip silence, take reverb out, stuff like that. So we'll start with the multi-track mix. Like I said, we're going to build this one from the ground up. Then I'll show you one other way to do it from, a song you might already have, and say you put in some new plugins you just got, or whatever the case may be, and it came out really well. Then, you can, from there, take out the audio files from it and save that as a template. So then every track you mix from then on, you start where you ended on the last track, kind of. So I'm going to go stereo mix just so we don't, pull in any of my pre-named auxes from last use. So basically, once we make this, it's going to show up in this here folder, and this is like what I was telling you about here, the stock ones, record and mix. Well, if you check that one out and that's basically what you want, but a couple minor modifications, then, go for it. Either 24 or 32 tracks, and this one's got, EQ and effects. This one has EQ dynamic. Maybe I'll even take a look at those and see what we're working with. But for now, we're just going to build one from scratch. So to build a template, you just create a blank session. Now, when you go in here, you can select whatever bit depth and sample rate the source material's in. So right now, to be computer friendly, we're going to go 16:44:1. We'll save it something incredibly special. All right, so for starters, I'm going to build some new tracks here. We'll do, say, 10 or 12 subgroups. Sometimes for drums and for vocals, I'll have, 3 or 4 subgroups in themselves. So maybe we'll go 12 just to make sure. Then 1 stereo master. And then we'll do 8 more returns. Man, I'm sloppy right now. Okay. Ooh. All right. So here we go. This is the blueprint here. Now ProTools kind of mimics, or if you set it up like this, it's kind of mimicking a console. You have your tracks to record on, which will be your stems, and then your subgroups kind of get added into that. Then the master fader, or the master section, and then your returns to the right side of that. Now, I didn't, by any means cut my teeth on an analog console, but we did learn those in school first. So after learning about signal flow, in a console chain from top to bottom, and then you have your sends down here, which, usually then is a knob to send how much of the signal, how much of a copy of the signal to one of your returns. So first things first, I usually take whatever aux track is closest to the master, and they're kind of this burgundy color. So I leave it that way. That's what I'm used to. You want to do something else, more power to you. And the other thing too is if naming them helps you, but color coding it you could care less about, well, then, do it however you want. Customize it to your workflow. If you need way more aux tracks or way less, or more or less returns, this is just about, if you do this every time you open up a session and create all these and create all your returns and do all your routing and naming and color coding, every time you do that, if it's 15-20 minutes in the beginning of a session, you add that up over a week's time, a month's time, a year's time. That's time you're not spending on the mix, whether you're going to take that much extra time per mix, or if it speeds up your process so you can do more mixes in a week. Either way, it's returns here to spend the little 20 minutes it's going to take to set up your session. So then what we're going to do here, let's start here. For all our subgroups, I'm just going to change the color of those, and those I'll usually change depending on the instruments that are coming into them. If I make the guitars purple, then I'll make the subgroup a little bit darker purple, whatever. We'll do something easy on the eyes here, this burnt orange. So now Shift Option Command is how you do it on a Mac. Other systems, I'm not sure. That's cascading the input here. So we hold those three down, then go bus 1, 2, just start at the top. It's gonna go, in order here. Now, to do all the tracks, just Shift Option, so no command this time. And that, we're gonna go, this is gonna be our submaster here. So that one, we could have cascaded as well. But these ones, everything before it, we're gonna go to 2324. Then we're gonna rename that submaster, subgroup, 2-bus, there's different names for it, all the same thing. So now all the outputs of those, aux returns, same thing, Shift Option, all out the submaster, right? Now we can also cascade these ones, Shift Option Command. And in case we need a couple extra ones for like parallel buses or whatnot, we'll just skip 1, 2, skip a few here and start on 33, 34. So these are going to be our sends. All right, and then basically, the process for the left side and right side is going to be similar. It's just to, the same means to a different end, I guess. So let's start off with, we all need reverb, maybe a couple of them. But for now, we'll start with reverb. Or, you know what? Let's do 2, reverb 2. And you could change that to reverb plate and reverb hall if that's what you want to do. Now delays here, I usually put delay short. Oops. And then delay long. All right. And that way, if you have an eighth note and a quarter note, or a quarter note, half note, if you're going to be obsessive compulsive about it and like, well, this says eighth note, quarter note, but really it's quarter note, half note, then you don't have to worry. Then here, if you put delay extra long, then leave it here and you're going from short to long, or delay extra short and then slide it back there. And then so on and so forth. I don't want to sit here and, have you watch me name all the tracks. So a couple of them is good enough. Then I'll also go up here and do the same thing, because this makes routing a lot easier. So reverb 2, delay short, delay long. All right, and another thing, as long as you have less than 10 effects returns, then the other thing is here, is if you're in view, mix window, let's just look at all our sends and all our returns quick. So now I'll kind of start, and again, do what makes sense for you. My thought process here is just to be able to look across the board and see everything, right? We go down here. Hey, no, a little crazy with this mouse. So reverb is going to go on basically everything, or one of the two. So let's say you have, the hall reverb on these, and then these ones you're going to have plate reverb on. Man, must be nervous on the spotlight here. So your other reverb, then this one you're going to go back to that reverb. Like I said, as long as you have less than 10, you got 10 spots for your effects returns. So then say you're going to put a short delay, and some of the times you're not going to know this, which ones you're going to want to delay. I'm just doing this to show you something here, and I'll take the delays out of it. Delay short, delay long. Move those down because that's in order. So I'm doing reverse order here. Reverb 1, reverb 2, delay short, delay long. Let's say there's another long delay here. Then you're just, with a simple glance here, you're able to look across the board and see what reverb you have on which track, because they all correspond. This is only long delays. The next one, say it's, just so we got 5 of them here, the Enigma. So then, same here. Go select that. And that's here and here. So you can just look and see where all the delays are coming from, where, what reverb you have on what. So these ones, we're not going to know what needs a delay till we bring it in. So, unless you are always going to delay, like vocals, for instance, you're always maybe going to have a short and a long delay on that, so you can put it there. But to make this shorter and sweeter, so you got the inputs, all these, cascaded to your buses, which are now named, so you can look at them and see what's up, not only by what their name is, but by where they are in your sends. All right. For these, I'm going to do something similar. Now, a lot of times for drums, and sometimes you'll have even more subgroups. For drums and vocals is going to be something a little different. Like here, I'll usually put kick and 808. Command right arrow brings you to the next one, so you can just keep on trucking. Snare. Then we'll have the drums. Then bass, guitar, piano, regular guitar, so on, so on. Then we'll probably get to, this will be your main vocals here, vox. Say this is like, if you have a singer on the hook and 2 different rappers on the verses, then you might have 3 subgroups, so hook, sung, verse 2, verse 1. All right, so now this is where it gets a little trickier. So drums, your kick and snare are going to go into that. So you highlight both those, put the input of that both into your drum sub, which you can also, rename all these drums. Bass guitar, not bad guitar. That'd be a bad omen for any guitar to grace that bus. Piano, so on and so forth. So now you can see your output. And then, you want to do that again, so when you bring your snares in, sometimes you can shorten them up, so then it, we'll just say the whole thing. So now it just gets a little, like I said, you're going to have some subgroups before your subgroups. But, to give you an example here, just quick, we'll have 6 tracks. Say we got 808 kick drum. Those are both going to go into there. Now we have a snare and a clap layered. You might have 3 of those. Then this is, hats. I'm not going to keep this for the template. This is just for representation. Other percussion. So that can mean a lot of things. If you have like some bright hats, and then you got, even if it's other symbols or hats, you could put it on here if you want to pan them independently, or it's other percussion. You got a shaker and your hat's on here, whatever. So these, that you can still process them individually, on their track. But I feel like, for things like parallel compression and, for the kick and the 808, there's going to be a lot of, you're going to want to process them individually, which you'll do here, on the track. Process the 808, process the kick if it needs it. Then you're going to put them both together here and probably want to do a couple of things to both of them to kind of blend them in. So these two, your kick, 808, and that's the subgroup. Then we got snare, clap. All right, so these are both going to go to the kick 808. Snare and clap are going to go to the snare sub. Then from these two go to here, that one goes to here, which then goes to here. So this is, about gain, staging, signal flow. It just helps a lot. Then you get a little blend of these. Oh, the 808's got to come down, and then both of them need to come down here. You get a nice blend of the snare and the clap. And then this is your drum sub. So then when it comes time for mixing, after you get a blend of your bass guitars that are going to come in here, blend of pianos, blend of guitars, you get all your vocals here going to, you could even put these three going to this one, 21, 22. So then all these three are going into this, and that's like your final vocal processing before it hits the submaster. So that way, when it comes down to your mix, all you got to do is you got your blend of where the verses need to be. So it's like, okay, all the vocals need to be louder. The guitars need to come down a bit, so do the pianos, but I can't hear the bass, and the drums are too low. So then, your mix takes place between these auxes, which will be spread out, but, with color coding and all that, you'll be able to just quick grab it. You'll also be able to see what sends are going in by reading them and by their placement. Also, for the last step, then there. So we'll go to reverb. Like I have for the reverb, a preset I like that I picked up off Pensado's place there, maybe slightly modified. Also, you can pick another one here if you want. True verb, beautiful. And then you got those set differently. Now for delays, the H delay I like, but I also find myself just using this one just because it's, short and sweet. Grab, we're on short delay now, so grab the quarter note, or the eighth note, sorry. Then we'll make this one quarter. And then, from there, then you have those. So then you got your presets. These you'll probably want to solo isolate. So click one, shift, hold them all. Shift option, shift option command. There we go. So these are all solo isolated. And same goes for here. Like something that I use across the board. I don't want to go too deep into the plugin tutorials. We'll probably get to those here in the near future. But, plugins you're going to put on every track. This VMR is so versatile, and the fact that you can swap out different modules into it without having to clog up your inserts, and even after you put in, your console emulation, then you got an EQ and a compressor. So this one is going to be we're on the submaster here, so we're going to grab the virtual mix bus. All right. Then on this one, we're going to swap that out for the channel. And both do the same thing. They just, different sections of it. So, You got the SSL E channel, G channel, API, Neve, Trident, RCA. I believe it's an old RCA, like 50s tube console. So, this is awesome, especially on, a hip-hop track that's already been, somewhat mixed or mastered or both. When you only have the 2-track, being able to back the input off. Otherwise, it's just pinned and it sounds terrible and distorted. So, if you're going on the instrumental, somewhere between negative 15 and 18. Anyhow, so those, for me anyways, that's going to be the start of every track, because what I'm going to do is select what console emulation I like the best on it and give it a little flavor. And the E channel I feel is very bright, so like if a snare is a little dull, then find myself there. I'm not going to automatically set it to it, I'll still check it out. But these ones add a lot of thickness and warmth, but on sometimes on bass it's too heavy. The Trident and the G channel are, I feel like, pretty moderate, and same with the RCA. For everything it's different, different people's voices, whatever. But starting with that, then like I was saying before, you got a compressor on it and an EQ, but you want to sound like, or see what it sounds like switched, or you can even copy it over to that one, switch it. Now, as you're listening, you can look away and do this, so you're mixing with your ears, not your eyes. See, click it a bunch of times so you don't know, flip it back and forth, see what you like better. Alright, so that's that, but this is going on basically every subgroup for me. Now these were just for example, so they have now left the building. So we got things labeled, obviously, go down the line here, and you might want to leave a couple, if you got 1 or 2 extras, so be it, or that's what you got, your other auxes that you haven't named here, 11, 12 through 21, 22. If you need to make more stereo aux tracks and route them and name them, depending on what your session contains. Same here, if you got stuff you use on every one, I would say reverb and delay, definitely. Another one is probably the doubler. Oops. All right, so on and so forth. So if you need less, you need more, however you do it. And right up there, save as template. Now, I just named this session whatever because the templates get saved in a different folder, so it didn't matter. But we'll put mix template YouTube. Perfect. And if you want to load them up with plugin stuff you always use, like I always use this plugin on bass guitar, or on my regular guitars, I always have this one. And feel free to load it up, because everything that you do that you're going to do anyways, you might as well do it now and spend a couple minutes and then never have to spend those minutes while mixing ever again. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to do another short one on the 2-track, which is going to be the same thing, but a little less. You could even make a preset of the 2-track, taking off all these and just leaving one for it. But I'm going to go through and just show people, how to do it with less. Then probably make another video where I bring in stems into this and route them, so you can just kind of see that. And I did that a little bit up here so you could kind of understand the drum subgroups, but we'll bring all the audio in and just show you how to get going. So I hope that was helpful. Feel free to customize it to your workflow or modify the stock templates. Just open up a session from the stock templates and then save as template. You'll be able to open it. So till next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, share.